Welcome to the Business, Finance, and Comedy Show. I am a guy surrounded by money. Today I'm interviewing Kyle Roof, who is a SEO and owns a tool called Page Optimizer Pro, and is a co-founder of Internet Marketing. Gold, and has High Voltage SEO, which is an agency. Do you ever get lectured on just doing one thing? I know that I do.
Do I ever get lectured on just doing one thing? No, there's a lot of synergy between all of the companies, depending on what somebody needs. Do they need to learn how to do SEO? Do they want to do their own SEO? Do they need someone to do SEO for them? So I would like to say I wish I had a master plan and I did that intentionally, but the businesses all spun out from the agency, but they all really, really worked very well together. So in the end, it was the right move. It was the right decision.
You have a complete on-page course. I am not expecting you to repeat it here. You can if you want, but what are the main things that you suggest that people do in terms of on-page?
You know, the biggest thing is to keep it as simple as possible. I've said this before, but the secret is hiding in plain sight. Google shows you the sites that it likes, and it likes them for really two reasons. They're on page and they're off page. And the on page is the one that's the easiest to reverse engineer to see like Google wants these terms in these places this many times. And so you need to have a methodology, a framework for how you're going to look at the SERPs, see what Google wants, and then give that back to Google and do it just a little bit better. Often people really try to overcomplicate it. That's one mistake. They overcomplicate it and they try to get very clever and they try to out clever Google. The other mistake is they never look at the SERPs. They never actually look and see what Google really wants. And so it's incredibly important, however you want to do it, in any manner. But you really need to observe what Google likes, and then that's what you need to give back to Google. And if you can do that, however you can set that framework up, however you can do that, then you can be very successful.
And what are the types of links that you recommend people get for competitive niches?
Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've got all of your like citations, all of your foundational links. In SEO, a lot of people like to jump to the end. They want to jump to the fancy, shiny technique, and they skip the basic part. So actually, even before you get to those links, you want to dial in your on page, because the better the on page you have, then the fewer links you need. Then you want to make sure you've got your foundational links and you've done all that correctly. And that's a multiple month process. Then you can get in and get the links you need. And the for competitive niches, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see what links my competitors have and see which ones I can get quickly. You know, that they've done something right. Again, Google likes them for two reasons. They're on page and they're off page. I want to see if there are links that they have that I can get. I'm going to try to do that first, because that's like it's likely, especially if they have links that they share or links that are common in style or type, that's probably moving the needle for them. So I want to make sure that I'm getting them. So again, it's not about out clevering or being crazy. It's about seeing what is there and going and get it. After that, there are a lot of opportunities that you can get to for content publishing, content PR, that kind of stuff. Usually those can help you push within a competitive niche, and aren't terribly difficult to get.
What have been some of the weirdest niches that you have done SEO for?
Uh, every once in a while, something in like the adult industry will come up, but it's all normal adult. It's nothing too crazy. One time I did do an audit for kind of like the monster.com of the porn industry. It's this huge site where there are two sides of it. One is the actors, and then they kind of list their resumes, and the other side are the jobs, you know, and the movies that are happening. And so we did a really big audit for them. This was years and years and years ago. We did a really big audit for them. And then I think they ended up not doing anything with the audit. They just let it go.
I am not the biggest believer in E.E.A.T. Most of my websites are anonymous, but what are the things people can do to take care of that aspect?
Well, I think when it comes to E.E.T, it's not going to help you rank. So doing E.E.T stuff isn't going to help push up any kind of rank. But when an E.E.T check happens, you need to tick enough of the boxes as possible. And again, in your niche, look, you can see what EAT signals your competitors have, and then you want to make sure that you're ticking enough of those boxes. The other thing that helps with EAT too is links. Links is a big part of EAT, and that comes back to those citation links, those links that help Google understand who you are, that you're a real thing, and those are those citation and directory links that you want to get back at the beginning that are going to help a lot. But by and large, when you think about a brick and mortar business, what do they do to present themselves as a real business? And whatever that is, that's what you want to try to emulate in an online sense. And that's usually saying, who's responsible for this website, who's responsible for this content. If there's a problem with the product or service that somebody has paid for, how can they get a refund? How can they get it fixed? How can they get help? All of those things, the more of those things you can demonstrate, the better.
What aspects of E.E.A.T have you seen legitimately faked if that's not an oxymoron?
Legitimately faked. Um, I mean, all of them can be legitimately faked. That's the thing. But you have to consistently legitimately fake it. So if you legitimately fake, say, this person, then you have to legitimately fake them on social media profiles. So, if you're faking an address, you have to fake that address across all of your citations. And what I find is that it's usually easier just to do it for real because you're going to spend so much time making sure that you're continuing to keep your legitimate fake going. It's almost just as much hassle uh, just to do it for real.
What got you into SEO?
I was building websites and I heard about this thing called SEO, where we could maybe get monthly money after we built somebody's website. And when we started doing that, I realized I was much, much better at the SEO side of it than I ever was in building websites. So it was it was a good move on my part to let the website building go and get more into the marketing side of things.
Have you had any personal successes with AI content?
Yeah, we've been using it for a while, actually, for especially for like supporting content, the content that you need to get out as cheaply as possible. Maybe 6, 7 years ago, we were using maybe writers from the Philippines. Um, we were using maybe writers from the Philippines as a first draft, and then using a native English speaker for English based content to edit. And basically, as AI got better and better and better, essentially they replaced that first draft of content. But we still have that native English speaker that's going to come in and edit for brand and tone and voice and stuff like that, in almost the exact same way we would with the writers from the Philippines. So for us, it was a pretty easy transition into using AI content because essentially it's almost the same type of content we were using before. And so for that type of thing, I think it's really effective because that content you want to get out as cheaply and as quickly as possible. And AI is a great way to do that.
You do regular Q&A sessions. What do you find people most struggle with in relation to SEO?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people a lot of people don't understand why we're doing something, like why. So you tell people like, hey, it's a good idea to build a silo on your site, build a virtual silo. And here's how you're going to connect it. And you probably want to do 5 to 7 pages at a time, and then maybe do them kind of clustered like that. And then somebody will come back and say, like, okay, I'm going to do 50 supporting pages. And it's like, well, why are you doing 50 supporting pages? Like, well, I've got them. I'm like, well, no, the point of those pages is to support, let's say, one target page. How do you know you need 50? But in their mind, they're like, they understand the concept and they're like, okay, well, now I'm just going to do all of this at once. And that's like, well, that's not the point of what we're trying to do. That's not that's not necessarily the desired result. That's not necessarily going to help you. And so, uh, um, it's kind of missing, it's understanding what to do necessarily, but not why to do. But then the reason that's important is when things shift a little bit in SEO. If you understand the why you're doing something, then the tool doesn't matter, the technique doesn't matter. or what you're, how you get about doing that doesn't matter because you understand why you're doing something, so you can adapt and change. People that often struggle are the ones that just memorized a technique, but they really didn't think about what's actually happening here and why that's going on. And so those are the people that I think in the Q&As that struggle the most, are the ones that are kind of getting lost in the weeds on a technique rather than seeing the bigger picture of what we're trying to accomplish.
Do you find that people are still succeeding with niche sites in spite of the helpful content update?
Not as many, but that's been a problem for the last 4 or 5 years. Google's been hostile to these sites for 5 years plus, easy. And every time some update comes out, the people that get tagged the most are affiliates and niche sites. Like those are the ones that Google's been the most hostile towards for forever. So it is definitely becoming harder and harder. What I would do is try to add some aspect of an e-commerce site to your niche site. You know, those are the sites that seem to survive. Those are the ones that seem to make it through or perform the best or recover the fastest, are the ones that have some of their own products or some of their own things, or things that where somebody can convert on the site. Some sort of on-site conversion, I think, is probably what you want to think about getting in order to protect yourself. Or if you were to start one today, what would I do, or what I think is the safest thing to do, is have some e-commerce on-site conversion aspect. I think that can protect you the most.
Do you still conduct SEO experiments, and if so, what type and how often?
Yeah, doing them all the time. Um, Running 3 or 4 tests right now. Most of it comes out of necessity in terms of like, well, we've got a question. Um, I recently had a large company contact me and I had to sign an NDA, which is pretty funny. Um, but yeah, they're like, hey, we actually have some questions and we want to run some tests. And so we're setting them up for them and we're running them. But uh, they all vary from, on-page stuff to off-page stuff. It's really just when somebody has a question about how does the algorithm work, and if we can come up with a good methodology, then we're running them. But yeah, I'm running tests constantly and publishing them, and it's still a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
For me, I don't do tests as indexing takes too much manual work. I can automate basically everything else, but just don't want to go into Search Console to request indexing.
Well, when it comes to indexing, if you get a site that's got some history, so like something off of an auction that just recently dropped, bringing those back up will probably help your indexing issues, where you can that might help your indexing issues.
If you are comfortable sharing, what have been the more black hat experiments or projects that you have done?
Thing, I mean, nothing's too crazy, but ranking blank pages, that's kind of fun. Uh, One thing I did was I sent 20,000 links once to a page, and the anchor text was, "I bought this link." This is a purchased link, and the page didn't have any problems. The page ranked very well. So I don't know if those are crazy black hat, but
What are the most popular courses in internet marketing? Gold.
I think my on-page course is the most popular, and then I think my white hat SEO course is the second most popular. After that, there's Kazra Dash has a really good course on link building, and that one is pretty popular.
How did internet marketing? Gold come about?
I was working with Joy Friend at SIA running tests, and then I decided to branch off and do my own group with my business partner Andy and with Ted Kubitis. And we realized though that the tests are cool, but it's not everything that people need. They do need to learn how to do SEO, and so then we pivoted a bit more into doing courses. we still have we still have the tests, and we still publish them and do all that, but we're definitely more of a courses platform than just a pure testing platform.
You do a lot of talks. Do you ever get sick of talking about the same subjects?
Sometimes it is a lot of the same questions. You get kind of tired of telling your story again and again and again, but it's fun. I mean, it's part of the job. I don't mind it. Um, I'm struggling today though with my voice and my throat, and I apologize. But other than that, it's usually pretty good. It's okay.
Where can people follow you?
KyleRoof.com might be the easiest thing. My stuff is posted there. You can find me if you're part of Page Optimizer Pro. We have a Facebook group, or if you're in IMG courses, I answer questions there, and I'm very active there as well. So any of those places will work.
I would like to thank Kyle for the interview. People watching can like, comment, share, subscribe and whatever else you do to videos if you're watching in the future. If you don't find notifications annoying, you can turn notifications on.